Hi, friends. It's Christina live for tea time Tuesday. I was just cramming so much food in my mouth. Hello. Man, these lights are so bright right in my face. Hi, April. Hi, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. And I was trying to figure out this screen mirroring thing. Oh, yeah, already gifting gifties. Lovely. So if I were to show you this really quick, can somebody tell me in the comments if you can read it right? It's right? Or is it just right for me? Is it right for you guys too? Yes. Woo, yay. All right. We'll share some receipts tonight, guys. I got this whole big book. Ask me any questions and I could show you some proof now that you don't have to read it backwards. Has everyone had a good Tuesday? I feel like it's like midnight. Should we revisit this now that we can see it better? Try to recreate this thing, man. It's gonna be my Halloween costume, by the way. Not kidding. For real, for real. I'm gonna try to pull this thing closer because I'm blind. Okay. Man, I probably have to pull everything closer. Anyways. So I was gonna give everyone a couple minutes to get on before we started getting into the nitty gritty of my little book and things, but oh, shebang. Wow, that's cool. Never made a noise before. Thank you. All these gifts. I honestly I still don't really even understand all this stuff, but thank you for all of the things, especially the hats that you send me. I like hats. And this is another look, I'm all backwards now because this thing is mirrored. Oh, it's fine. Can you hear me good? Hi, thanks for coming on. Hopefully, you guys got to look at the little video that I put up before this. It's scary stuff. Maybe, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, hi, top 8. I got it mirrored. Our Googling worked. I'll try not to look down so much so you like miss my whole face, but so I shared a I shared a video. Can you hear me now? I feel like I did it last time without this and it was fine. If I can find my plug. Can you hear me still for now? Now you can. Okay. Let me know if you can't and I will try to pay attention and talk loud. It's better than a microphone anyways. I feel like I hit that thing all the time and it's annoying. Okay, cool. So I shared a video. You guys were probably just watching my lips move earlier today, and it was, some more small town, just local police corruption. And like I said, that one I don't even kind of want to compare because there was, unaliving, which is not my case. Mine was just, was it $200,000 of grand theft or something like that? Ridiculous. But the fact that it could go this far is what's the crazy part. And the fact that just like that video that I shared earlier, as soon as the guys, the perpetrators, knew that they were caught or in trouble, they called the DA, personally on the phone. Similar as I have been told Bruce called that guy. No, mirrored. This is going to confuse me all night. That guy, on his personal cell phone when he got his DUI in March. So I would love to know how many calls there have been between them about my case that was September and blah, blah, blah. Also, in that video that I shared earlier, they talked about how the DA recused herself right away, and then the next person they sent it to did the same thing, and then the next person, and they weren't going to file anything. Mind you, my case is kind of flip-flopped because I have, you know, instead of Bruce being the one he did do something wrong as far as, like, file a whole false police report and all this junk, but he, you know, didn't unalive someone and was calling the DA for help. Instead, he accused me of things that were not true, and I can prove in this book they're not true. And now that we're mirrored, I can show you guys more facts. So give me questions with what exactly you guys want to know. I do have a YouTube channel, and you guys can catch up on all the other lives. I'm going to try not to go way, way, way backwards, but in a nutshell, I'm Christina. I worked for the self-proclaimed most powerful man in Southwest Florida. That's what he calls himself. Like 2019 to 2023, and I was basically his wrangler. I also worked for other companies that he's an owner of. I got a paycheck from them, and for doing all of his, what is it called? Like all of his wrangling, all of the things that had to do with him, and all of the women, and all of the secrets, all of the things that he didn't want his daughter, who's suddenly, you know, a professional. Did he ever ask me to do anything that was shady? I mean, yeah. Personal assistant. Yes, I was his personal assistant. I was his personal assistant, but Bruce never, he doesn't like work for the companies. He just gets checks from the companies, like disbursements, like owner disbursements or whatever. So, so the companies that I worked for, like I worked for FBC first, and then later I'd work for SCD, and that's where SLD, and that's where I ended. And so I get paychecks for doing an actual job, where I mostly worked with his partner, Rick Trueworthy. And then over on the other side, yes, I was his personal assistant, like moving girlfriends in, moving girlfriends out, you know, having girls sign NDAs after he threw like pans at them, like crazy things. But we also, though, quickly became like friends before he trusted me with all this other stuff. So, you know, we vacationed together. He was around my kids. My husband and him were, you know, friends. We had not one house, but two houses. Still own a lake house together. Him and my husband and I all own 33.3% in a LLC called Often 2. I'll show you that if you want. So, shady stuff, yes. I can show you screenshots of right before I guess it was a couple weeks before I was terminated for whatever stuff he made up. Actually, I had to put out kind of I hate to say put out. I never did. So, backtrack. The reason that I ended up being terminated from him very shortly after his partner of, you know, forever long of a time passed away was because I wasn't going to write these $300,000 checks for him out of his partner's office right after he passed away. And his partner was, you know, it's almost his 2-year anniversary, and it's super sad. And we were just all learning that this happened. And so, and also I'd never written checks out of this account before, like I've said before. Again, catch up on the YouTube. So it wasn't illegal what he was asking me to do, but it was immoral. House number 2, did you have to leave it because he gifted it to you? So I'm assuming, Melissa, that you're talking about house number 1, which is in Punta Gorda, which is that's the house he bought for my kids and I. And I was already moving out when my husband and I got together. He had a house, you know, and I had a house, and I worked over there. So we stayed in the house that I had, that Bruce had given me, that I never paid for, except for I paid 3 payments to the, you know, the fake, actually it was like an illegal mortgage, but that's okay. It is all very confusing, Melissa. I get confused still, and it's my life. Boo. So, so we were going to move out here anyways, but it wouldn't, so I paid 3 mortgage payments, like the whole mortgage payments, the whole entire time I lived there since 2020, because after he terminated me, he, and I quote, said, I'm going to ruin your life. You're never going to work here again. I'm going to put you and your kids, you know, in Punta Gorda again. I'm going to throw you and your kids out on the street, et cetera, et cetera. So when he said all that, I was like, oh boy, I technically did sign mortgage papers to a damaged property right after Hurricane Ian, because, you know, anytime he would get a girlfriend, especially one that was, excuse me, maybe like a little bit jealous or territorial, then he would like want to create some space. And so, by the way, that's okay. Everyone here is friends, I feel like, so thanks for coming along. So I signed that, like, under, obviously, I still never paid for it. It was like in kind is how he paid me for doing all of his stuff. I got paid a paycheck for doing stuff for SLD at this time with his partner mostly. So I got terminated after I wouldn't do what I considered immoral things for him in October of 23. I think I paid November, December, January, and that's like all I've ever paid, just to like give me some breathing room. But then I didn't move out of there until like way later, maybe like July or August, and I never paid anything again, because as far as that went, why would I start paying for something that I had never paid for before, right? Like, it's almost like it's making it seem like I, you know, should have been paying it and I wasn't. So we didn't do that. I just sort of panicked whenever it all first happened, because I didn't want him to be able to do all the things that he was saying that he could do. So so that was that. And then there was hurricane damage to the property, but the property was, you know, technically, so the insurance policy, because it was like always in his name. And then literally right after Ian, I signed the faux mortgage papers and never have to pay him anything else. And there's damage to the house, but that insurance was in his name prior, you know, to Charlie. I mean, I'm sorry, to Ian. And so, but all of and I have so many emails with like the insurance company, and he had adjusters and all this stuff. So they were going directly to me, because they knew that he was going to sign whatever check for the house over to me so that I could fix whatever things. So after all this stuff happens, I literally text his mom, because he put her on the mortgage too. Remember the girlfriend thing? Like, he needed to create space. So now it's him and his mom on this mortgage. But there's another mortgage for Authon 2, which is owned 33.3% by me, and then my husband, and then Bruce, for a lake house. So that lake house, that LLC that owns the lake house, started with Bruce and a girlfriend and me. And then when he got rid of that girlfriend and tried to 1099 her for, I have to be careful with my words on here, I get in trouble. Called them plastics. Okay. She got the girlfriend package. And so when that came crashing down, then he wanted her off right away. It was always really hard to get the girlfriends off of things. Oh, I can go into more detail if you guys want that stuff, but he would oftentimes put them on like a company or an LLC, and they own this or buy this, or, you know, like, he was just the one, like, you know, Rick would always say that he had, you know, a bigger budget, but he's like renting jets, like he owns them. He does not like jet renting money, but he would to like impress girls at first. And so he'd put him on a business, get him a jet, ask him to wear white, on and on. And then later I would have to do all of the undoing, which sucked. But, and it was awkward, but so that's basically in kind. This is like the part that his daughter, I think, just thought that I worked like for SLD and didn't have any idea all of these other things that I was doing for him, taking care of his mom, doing all this stuff. So, so I did it. So I had already planned on moving out of that house, if that answers your question, but I did just let it go for now. It was also would fall under like predatory lending, because if you have, you know, more than two, like if you're holding like mortgages personally, like more than 2 of them at a time, then you're held actually to the same standard, like federally, as, you know, like a, you know, just like a bank, like a mortgage, like whoever would give a mortgage. And so, my W-2s, like the year that I would have, you know, signed those papers, like it's 100% predatory lending. There's no way I could have, you know, gotten that on my own. So yeah, let me know if I don't make sense, because, you know, those ADD meds have worn off by now and things could definitely get a little sideways. But you could bring me back. Just like, I'll keep looking and just bring me back. So So that's why I didn't. And yes, I let that go. And, you know, on the backside of this, then, you know, like we said before, like, obviously I'm not just going to walk away like this didn't happen. Like, I'm sure he and a lot of them, they would both love for that to happen at this point, because nothing has happened since I was arrested in September except for like case management that I've never been to. It's just been my attorneys. And hi everyone, thanks for coming. So and we solved the lake house, like I said. I don't really know what's even happening to that, but I know that I would have sold it a long time ago, but I'm not allowed to sell it because that's it's basically like the only thing in that LLC that we can't do is get rid of the property that the LLC owns without unanimous agreement. So it's just kind of sitting there. What does the owner who passed away's daughter think about all this? Do you still talk to her? So I do still talk to her. It's like a hard question. So obviously she is still, so for the corporation, she stayed on, and she's, you know, the majority shareholder. Like, she's the personal representative for the estate. And that poor girl, man. She did not ask for all of this, and so much of this stuff with Bruce was happening before she was even named the representative of the estate. So I've been asked before, you know, like, would you have, you know, like, would you have stayed hired? Would you, you know, why didn't you just give your job back? Why did she give it back to you? But once Rick passed away, there really wasn't a job at SLD anymore to have, because he was the developer. He was the one with the money and the brain and all the things doing that. Bruce is just the face of the chaotic face of all these things. So, no, she and I are close, but she is on those other companies. So I try to just, you know, give her as much anonymity as possible. I guess I'll just say that. But yes, we are friends, and she has been great through this, and I just don't want to put her in a weirder spot than she already is, right? Sorry. But she was there for the whole entire thing. So, I mean, yeah, if this were to go to court, I mean, we're just going to tell the truth, so... this whole story is insane. What are my hopes in the end? Oh boy, that's a goodie. So, first and foremost, to have my name back, that's a huge deal to me. I have, you know, always raised my kids, like Sunday school teacher. I'm sure people on here could, you know, oh, hi. Yeah, I mean, my husband's a firefighter. Like, you know, it's been completely humiliating and crazy. Thankfully, like, everyone in my camp knew that it was, you know, nuts. I've said on previous lives, like, I would pay someone $1,000, literally, if cash money, if they could steal $10 from Bruce. Bruce has, you know, alerts on his phone for all of the spending. He gets all of his accounts. He's the only one who could ever move money, transfer money from any other account into the Laishley USA checking account that, you know, the PCA is just like listed with expense. But you're talking about, you know, 5 years, all these expenses. Bruce is the one who runs his accounts. He never, ever. I have, you know, messages. I will even post them out and show you. You know, where he's texting me that he's moving money. I could never move money. Only he could move money. And so how can you say that you didn't know any of this? He did know all of this. So yeah, so I guess, like, first and foremost, I want my name back, like my reputation back. I never asked for any of this. I was really loyal to him on this side of things, understanding I'm more loyal than I should have been. But all of this it was a super shock. As soon as I wouldn't, I mean, he was calling, I mean, you're talking 48 hours after Rick passes away, maybe, he's calling me come down to appraise all these cars. Like, I'm asking him to keep stuff off of social media, off of Facebook, because, you know, Rick's daughter hadn't even had a chance to tell her, you know, like, his only grandkids, like, that he had passed away before they were talking about it at, you know, restaurants. So I think he started getting mad about that. And then, you know, the whole check thing, when I wouldn't write the check, I told her that it was weird he was doing that. But, you know, I think she was also sort of in, like, a daze. I feel like I was, too, in a daze. This was not an expected passing. It was super shocking. So I think that a lot in real time as this stuff is happening, it was just kind of in slow motion. And so when Bruce freaked out on me that day, when I went to write the checks, and then he said, you know, I wasn't loyal to him, I wasn't loyal to his mom, I took his mom, I took care of his mom, his niece took care of his mom, lived there, but when Bruce would go out of town, I have pictures with her, I was always going and making sure whatever she needed done was done. All of her little COVID shots she got, I took her to, so I was super involved. Is it safe to eat at the Crab House for you or for me? So I've eaten there a bunch of times and I've survived. I feel like it's good now. So that's what I made clear the last video, is that, my issue here and what I try to stay focused on is Bruce Laishley. Bruce Laishley is not a majority owner in absolutely anything. There are other owners involved in all of these companies. They're the managing owners. They're the operational owners. They're the ones who do the work. Bruce just gets a paycheck, ever so often when they do disbursements. He does not have anything to do with the day in and day out. Or honestly, I feel like these people are probably a little embarrassed that he's, the face of it half the time. So, hi. I would never knock on anything Smugglers or, anything Florida Premier Contractors or anything Southwest Engineering or, even SLD. That's, who I worked for when I was, terminated on some BS. But, this isn't, go eat at the Crab House. I don't have anything bad to say about, I feel like I've never had an issue with any other owner or any other employee, ever, not once. So obviously I feel like this has put everybody in a precarious situation, for the last year. When Bruce, fired me out of nowhere 2 years ago, I had other owners texting me, what the heck is going on? What is he doing? Has he lost his mind? This is, and with Rick passing away, he didn't gain or lose any shares in any companies per se, but he lost Rick's voice, basically. If you guys hadn't watched any of the other ones before, Rick, I would refer to him as like Oz. He had all the money, all the brains, all the stuff, and he just liked to stay in his one kind of secret lair office that I worked with him in, and he would just go from there to home and back. So he didn't ever care to be the face of any of this stuff. So Bruce got to run around and be the face of it, but he never held the purse. He wasn't even allowed to move the SLD computer from one room to another room when we moved into SLD. But as soon as he fired me, he went and picked the whole computer up and moved it out of the building before April could even be named the personal representative of the estate. So he's done really shady things. Wait, why would Bruce ask to sell the cars that were Rick's for over 30 years? Okay, thank you. I like the Miss Kelly role. Yeah, right? I don't even Kelly, she's always been good to me. I honestly have nothing bad to say. I have had no bad interactions with any other person at all who is related to any of these companies. So, what I don't want to do is, start this whole huge, Crab House, that's... They have nothing to do with each other. Bruce is just, a liar and, a womanizer and, all these things. But yeah, he does not, all he does is eat at the Crab House if you see him there. He has nothing to do with the actual Crab House or any other establishment. If anything, I'll show you now that, so I was terminated while he's screaming at me, right here in my face, in October, right after Rick passed away. But in September, I was having to figure out if he had sexually harassed a young employee that worked for Smugglers. And I had his niece also worked for Smugglers at the Crab House at the time. I'm sorry, not the Crab House, at Harpoons at the time. She's a bartender. And because I trusted her, I had texted her after, basically I went into work one morning, and like I said, I predominantly at this point worked with Rick in his kind of secret lair, and there's a phone call from another owner, Smugglers, and he says, that it's gotten back to him that Bruce was, because he had just experienced another breakup that end of September, and Matt the mover can attest to this because he would move the girls in and out literally almost simultaneously. So guys, it's not just me. I have all this proof and other people too, if they ever let us get that far, which nobody's thinking they will, which is, I would love a jury, personally. So I'm doing this instead because, you know, I think that he would love to have this just like dismissed and have my name all over Fox News and blah, 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 and like not ever have to, you know, admit that he made a false police report. So, when is my trial? Wouldn't we love to know? I think they put, it was like supposed to be like October 7th, but we knew that was never happening because the state attorneys like recused himself from his DUI in March of this year, but not from my criminal charges in last September. And when I say criminal charges, let me just be so clear that you know, I'm a commercial realtor. Also, my brokerage was called over and over and over and over again one morning. And by the time I woke up, I had so many missed calls. So I called my brokerage back first and they were like, there's this, you know, detective calling. They thought that I was like unalive somewhere. They were trying to make sure that everything was okay. And why you called them 100 times, I have no idea. So when I end up calling him back, it's just this whole confusing story about, you know, there's something to clear up. If you would come down here and clear it up for us, then, you know, otherwise, then we're just going to have to take this other person's complaint seriously and put a warrant out for your arrest. I remember sitting in my living room and being like, what are you talking about? Like, who's getting arrested for like real estate or whatever? Like it was so confusing. So at this time, I did not have like a criminal attorney. I'm not a criminal. I don't have a criminal record. But I did have a family court attorney because I've been going through it with user 869 something, whatever. He popped up here the other day. So it's so sad when they can't just say their names, right? Like, just say you're Jay. You don't have to say user 869 blah, blah, blah. Like that didn't get sent to me a million times. Also, if you do have a fake user account, guys, if people go and it's like still under your name, it's a little embarrassing. I know we're old, but like get it together if we're going to share, okay? Just come on with your name. It's cool. I'll tell the truth to you too, just like family court. So anyways, my family court attorney was the only attorney that I, you know, had or knew. So I had texted him or called him whenever all this stuff was happening. I was like, oh, somebody, you know, this detective is calling me and I don't know what's going on, but he's saying I have to go there. So when I got off the phone with non-detective Christopher Farley that day, I was planning to go to whatever address he gave me. I know in the PCA, he's like, oh, okay, hi, Kevin. It's confusing with these usernames. So whatever, some address, this is where I can go and meet him. So in the PCA, or probable cause affidavit, he's like, you know, as soon as she knew the airport road address, the jail address, bro, I'd never been in the jail before. Like, I did not know that was a jail address. Like, you could just, like, why does this public servant feel the need to lie and make up stuff about, you know, a civilian who he's never met that I know of in my life? Hey, Christopher Farley, if we've ever met and I did you dirty somehow, let me know, because I forgot if I did. But I don't feel like I've ever seen this dude in my life. So why you would lie in here is insane to me. Hi, Sue. Thank you. Like I said, you can go on my YouTube and catch up. It's so much, but if you have questions in between, you can let me know. So all this stuff happens. I call my family law attorney. He says, you know, no, do not, you know, do not go there. Do not whatever. Let me call. He was getting off a plane. I'm like, okay, this is crazy, right? So he calls, and basically what's said to me is, and I am not an attorney, and I am not a criminal, and I have never done any of this stuff before. So since I have been asked questions and people are like, well, what would have happened if you wouldn't have turned yourself in? Like, I don't know. I just did what, you know, my attorney said to do because I've never been in this situation before. So I am terminated from Bruce, like not even really legally because he wasn't even the majority owner of that company at the time. But here nor there, it was so much. I ran down, you know, the plaza because we were Muscle Car City to like April's, and I'm crying, and she was actually really funny, and she was like, didn't you, I mean, you did just say that you didn't want to just go back to working for him anymore. And I was like, I mean, I did say that, but I didn't mean like this. Okay. And so it's a bad breakup, but no girlfriend package. And then a whole year later, then this detective or this non-detective is blowing up my brokerage's, you know, phone and all this stuff. And so then I talked to my family law attorney, and he's like, let me call them first. He calls me back and he says, yeah, like they're going to issue a probable cause affidavit. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, so we're not going to know what's in it unless you turn yourself in. I'm like, what? And so this is like insane, right? Like, how am I going to go and turn myself in? Like, for what? And so he's like, you have to go, and then they're going to, get it. So anyways, I cover this in the other lives, so you guys can go back and watch. But in a nutshell, he's like, you know, we'll get you a, what do you call him? Bail bondsman. Yeah. McGinnis, I think it was. Amazing. If you ever find yourself in real or fake trouble, he was so nice. And he was like, you know, wear sweatpants, like, don't bring anything except your license. Like, you know, go and check yourself in. He didn't say check in. Go turn yourself in with just your license, leave your phone, like everything, you know, go after 2 in the morning. We'll have you out, you know, before 10. Like, so I'm thinking, like, my kids aren't even going to know anything. We're going to figure this out. And then we're going to have a copy of this, you know, fake PCA or whatever. Also, I was under the impression that to have, like, to be arrested, you have to have, like, a warrant and, like, I don't know, have somebody look at, like, evidence or, like, anything like that. Like, nothing like that. Like, no, you don't. All that had to happen in my case was that Christopher Farley went to Bruce's, yeah, right? We don't even have to talk about how anybody knows, but amazing. Literally was so kind. And I must have texted him a few times, and he was so nice and just explained everything and said, and he even said, you know, whenever you go and see the judge, you know, in the morning, I'm gonna already be there. Like, I'm gonna already be there. You can call me anytime. Like, he was just, yeah, if you ever find yourself in real or fake trouble, definitely call McGinnis because they were awesome. And so anyway, so nothing had to happen, and nothing, like, no one had to prove anything to anyone. All that happened for me to get arrested was Christopher Farley, who's friends with that dude, both of them probably, not sure exactly how that works. I would love to know if anybody does know the connection. You know, he works for him, but went to his house with his daughter. So Bruce's daughter was never involved in anything. Which is why I sometimes feel a little bad for her, but I also don't, because she should have asked more questions before she tried to just torpedo someone's life and, like, send them to prison and stuff without caring. So now I care very little about what happens to her too. But I did know her before this, and we never had any bad interactions. I actually went and worked at her house. My husband went with Bruce across the state to work at her Sebastian house before she moved to Sarasota, before I think now, like, she might live around here somewhere. I'm not sure. So there was never any bad blood anywhere at all. I did all the things for the family that any of them needed done, okay? And so, and this is how I got all this, like, in-kind payment, was all of that stuff. I got a paycheck for all the work stuff that I did with Rick. I did not get a paycheck for all the insanity that I'll show you in a minute that I did for Bruce. And so those are the things that, you know, Brandilyn would have not known about because Bruce wouldn't want her to know about it. So, anyways, so moral of the story there, before I backtrack to my little story prior to this about the sexual harassment stuff, there was no, like, warrant. There was no indictment. There was no grand jury. There was no anything. It was literally Christopher Farley, who I'm sure is buddies with Pramel. I mean, he at least works for him. Went and, you know, to Bruce's house and took Brandilyn's homemade spreadsheet of expenses after she was probably like, Dad, you know, you were spending all this money on her. And he was like, a coward and embarrassed and does, you know, was like, no. And I am quite positive, knowing Bruce as well as I do, that he never intended it to go this far, like all this stuff. He surely would not want me saying all the things that I can say and I'm gonna say. I'll say it tonight if you guys ask the right questions. So he, I do not believe, would have ever purposely put himself in this position. When he got his first DUI that I was aware of in 2019, my full-time job for him was getting that picture off of the internet because he could not stand that it was on the internet. And then some funny people put it on lighters, merch, stickers all over Punta Gorda, wore it into one of our restaurants one time. Actually hilarious, and I appreciate it now. But yeah, no, they stressed me out at the time because it was really... he hated that, so I know he hates this. Did I ever have to get out of bed to do something for Bruce? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, if he wasn't in town, take care of his mom, I mean, everything. He had a storage unit burned down one time, and I don't even know what time of night it was, but, no, I had to go all the way to Burnt Store and deal with his storage unit burning down while he, you know, drank cocktails and Boca. Yeah, I literally had, my phone was on me 24/7. I feel like, I mean, my husband would even, I mean, he knew that this was what it was when we got together, but, you know, to say that it wasn't annoying or, you know, like, difficult at times would not be true. So, but yeah, so it wasn't like a, yeah, on-call assistant, right? I mean, it wasn't, he called me family. I'll show you, like, he didn't, okay, one thing at a time. Remind me to follow back up with this family thing. I'm going to show you the sexual harassment thing first after I make sure that we have really hammered home that the PCA, probable cause affidavit, was literally just Bruce having Christopher Farley come to his house and him and Brandy giving them a spreadsheet and saying, this is stuff that she paid for that I didn't know about. Christopher Farley did not ask any questions about, you know, even in there it's like, oh, Bogle Law, I called Bogle Law and they said that she was a client. And so all of these, you know, fees or everything paid out of this account can be attributed to her. But I literally have, you know, I have paperwork that shows that Bruce was a client. This is a demand letter that he had his last girlfriend. This is from Bogle Law, you guys. So this is like the retaliatory, sorry, I'm getting all messed up with this mirroring thing. And it's got to stay so close on my face, all the stuff working on it. Maybe if my face is closer to it. Okay, anyways. So I'll read it to you, but this is a real thing. Screenshot it if you want to. Zoom in. What does it say? You were like the other firefighter in the house, always getting called to put out his fires. What a funny play on words, but yeah, that's true. So speaking of like this retaliatory behavior, this is an example of it. And I did take the girl's name out because, like I said, I have nothing against anyone else in any of this. The only people that I really want to, you know, speak the truth about is Bruce Laishley, Brandilyn Laishley, who made all this stuff up. Well, he made it up. She went along with it without asking any questions at all and knowing me enough. And her husband, Mike, who had said enough to me. I have enough text messages in my phone about stuff that he said about his own family. Like, please. That there could have been like a text message, like, plus Bruce has done enough stuff that everyone does know about to have asked questions, like, about this story. Everyone knows that, you know, Bruce is all over the place with all kinds of things, but never his money. I mean, he's not even like a big tipper, you guys, unless, you know, he wants your phone number or something. But no, it is all like he does. And every financial report we had to fill out every time he got a new girlfriend and a new house and a new whatever car she wanted and a new $300,000 ring or whatever it was, I'm literally having to help like fill out financial statements over and over again. And so when that happens, you guys, he's seeing them. Everyone's seeing the accounts over and over again. The bankers, the CPA, he's copied on everything. I never had any access to move any money without him knowing. So, you know, to just get himself in a situation where he doesn't want to, you know, embarrass himself in front of his daughter, because I'm sure the next question of hers would have been, why? Well, this... And I'm going to cover up some of the phone number just because I don't want to, like, do her dirty. But, so this, ooh, where'd you go, bud? This is his niece, and she worked for Harpoon Harry's, okay? She used to live underneath his mom and help take care of her until I had warned her one day, like, on the low, just because I really like her, and she's a really great person, and, like I said, Bruce and Brandy are really the only bad guys here. Probably Mike and Pramel. And I mean, Pramel by default, I don't know this dude. I've definitely met him a couple times because he and Bruce are buddies. And we would set up his, you know, fundraisers and they would do like lunch together and whatever. But I'm not going to be like Bruce and be like, he absolutely had knowledge of all this stuff happening. I can't say that because I don't know. I would love to know the answer, but I do know that his detective who works for him did know and lied all through this PCA about me and also did zero investigating or detecting. So if Sheriff Pramel had nothing to do with this, then I would think that there would be a pretty strong answer from his department to non-detective Christopher Farley because he surely did not do any detecting. And like I said, we'll get into more of that. But so this was Bruce's niece, and she did also help take care of their grandmother. And I had told her one day on the low, because I do really love her, that he was probably going to at some point take advantage of her. That I had never seen any documentation that would lead me to believe, or any paperwork and anything that I touched, which was everything, you guys, everything. I never saw anything that would lead me to believe that when his mom passed away, that she would be put on the house that she lived in, or... you know, that anything would kind of be given to her. Now, she is the daughter of Bruce's older brother who was adopted, Larry. So Larry and Rick were friends. Larry, by all accounts, was a super funny, awesome guy. I never got to meet him, but his mom would still cry talking about him. You know, I mean, my opinion is I don't think little sickly Brucey ever measured up. But Bruce was mowing lawns, begging attorney Kevin Shirley to get Barbie a bookkeeping job because he didn't have any money and they had these kids. And then Rick ends up putting him on SLD because he's friends with his brother, basically. SLD ends up, you know, kind of like hitting a jackpot. And now he's sort of in bed with Bruce accidentally for all of these years. I could tell you some of the stuff that Rick thought about Bruce, and it was not what Bruce says it was. So this was his niece. And these are our conversations on October 3rd of 2023, okay? So this is like 2 weeks before Rick passes away, and then I get fired like days after that. And I can show you those messages too, because I have them. So I'm going to show this to you as long as you can. Oh, boy. It is hard with this disappearing screen thing, you guys. I feel like you can read it enough-ish. Okay. So I can't read it now because it's backwards, but I will read out loud to you because I just showed it to you. I said October 3rd, okay? Hey, off the record, we just heard from a super credible source. The credible source was one of the owners of Smugglers that called Rick, and Rick put it on speakerphone while I was in the office, and he basically told us we need to figure out what's going on because he is a huge walking liability, and we need to know if we're going to get sued by one of our young employees at Harpoons. Because so I say, we just heard from a super credible source. Oh, I wish this would like let me read it at the same time. Will it? Okay. We just heard from a super credible source that someone was uncomfortable with the way Bruce was hitting on her Friday, ? Heard anything about that? Please do not share. We are just wanting to get ahead of it if so. She says, hitting on who? I say some young girl who works at Harpoons, but who went to Shorty's after with a group of them. She says, all I know is my friend Jasmine said she found him passed out at Shorty's and her husband brought him home. And when she says passed out, she literally means passed out in the parking lot of Shorty's. I'll show you that in a second. So sometimes I wonder, like, is Bruce just like that much of a drunk that he just like forgets huge blocks of time or like what he said or did or like, it's not applicable here. He 100% knew what he was saying whenever he lied to his daughter. But, I mean, I guess, like, if he's, like, mixed them in details, this would maybe explain why. But even still, stay, bud. Oh, so annoying. So, she's like, all I know, blah, 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 they brought him home. She called me at midnight, and I thanked her for calling me and getting him home safely. She never mentioned anything about him hitting on her. She said she couldn't leave him where he was. No, and then I say, no, it wasn't whoever took him. Please hold. It wasn't whoever took him home. He left Harpoon Harry's with a group. It was one of them. She says, I have no idea. I say, okay, totally off the record. Hopefully nothing comes of it. She says, I haven't heard anything, but if I do, I will be the first person to tell, for sure. And I said, but if you do hear anything, please let me know ASAP. Because that was my job, guys. I was the cleaner-upper before there was a mess, okay? And so then she says, people did tell me that they saw him. Let's hold. They saw him, and I was like, cool. And then I said, yeah, I only care, right here, guys, I only care about anything that has the potential to become a lawsuit stuff. Then she sends me this screenshot of this conversation between her and her friend Jasmine. This is exactly what Jasmine said to her that night. And she said, poor Bruce, he was so drunk last night. He was sleeping on the ground outside of Shorty's. We could absolutely not leave him there. There's a lot of crazy people in this world. You don't freaking say. But let's make sure we save Bruce Laishley from them. It's him. There's a lot of crazy people in the world. Someone, I'm trying to fix this for you guys. Someone could have abducted him and robbed him. I'm also dramatic and don't trust humanity. People will take advantage of him just because he's a Laishley. It's F word. Dude, I'm so excited to come. Thank you for calling me. Nicole says to her, this girl says, I'm going to see if I can bring whoever's baby, blah, blah, blah. So that's the screenshot she sends, right? And then she says, this is what she sent me Saturday after I thanked her again for bringing him home that night that he was found so drunk. Weird, he's got all these DUIs, right? So drunk that he was passed out in the actual parking lot of Shorty's. I'm sad to have missed it, to be honest. So then, okay, so that is, let me make sure you guys are trusting me here, okay? So it goes from that to October 4th, 2023 at 4:42 p.m., okay? She says, oh, this thing. I have some details, but I'll give them to you over lunch. Okay, not LOL. And I said, palm to face emoji. Okay, because I know what this means. We all know what this means. And she said, texting would make it too real. It's not the best news, to be honest. Let me remind you, this is his niece who lives with his mom at the time, okay? Yeah, Rocks and Shell. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying, opportunity missed. I really wish I would have seen it. But I was too busy cleaning up all these, other messes. So, had the girl Jasmine known better, she would have called me. Because that was my job, technically. So anyway, she says, texting would make it too real. It's not the best of news. I said, ugh, do we need an attorney? She says, I don't think so. I'll talk to you about what I know tomorrow, and we can go from there. I'll tell you what I know. I say, okay. She says, I just don't know which place to pick. Kind of craving sushi. I've been having burgers all weekend. Plus, I've never been to Finn's. Shout out to Finn's. Sorry to include you in this. You have nothing to do with it, but I do appreciate your sushi. And they, they make good drink sweets. Anyways. So, I've never been to Finn. So I say, sorry you're in the middle, but it's important that we get ahead of any, hold on. Just to make sure that we didn't leave anything out, I doubled down on these too. So you can't, it doesn't look like I skipped anything, right? So here's where we are now, this first line. Sorry, you're in the middle, but it's important that we get ahead of it any way we can. No, so this part sucks. No one will ever know it came from you. And I'm super sorry because my intentions were that would stay the truth. And for all of my employment with him, that always was the truth. I was the secret keeper of all the things and no one ever knew anything. But if it's like prison or I have to say that what like you said, we said, then so sorry about that part. But so I say no one will ever know it came from you except for now we do. Sushi is good. I love Finn's. She says, I understand, babe. See you tomorrow around 12:30. So October 5th. Okay? Because we're not even wasting any time. Right? We get this call the 3rd. By the 5th, by the end of the day of the 3rd, and then to the 4th, I've already got people out there, like on the ground that I trust, trying to get me intel. What am I actually looking at before, shout out to Morgan & Morgan, is like, oh, it's insane. Trying to just figure out what we have to do. So this is the 5th. And where is it at? This is like hard to do. Oh my gosh. I feel like a magician. So, I don't even know what the secret is, you guys. My head, this. For crap's sake. Okay. Be very still. Blah, blah, blah. See you good. I understand. See you at 12:30. She says, I'm on my way. Me too. Are you inside? I said, walking up. So then I just have a bigger screenshot of the actual message from the friend. This is just a screenshot of the text message that I already read you about him, getting passed out, blah, blah, blah. So once I told Nicole that I was walking up and I get inside, she proceeds to tell me in Finn's that there was a situation. People are talking about how he got super drunk at Harpoons, which tracked because he had just had a breakup with the girl that I was getting to show you the demand letter that he sent her. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll call her girlfriend Kay. But so him and this girl break up, and he kind of went on like a bender, obviously, being asleep in Shorty's parking lot or whatever. So Nicole comes and meets me after telling me she has heard stuff, does not want it to be in text messages because it will be too real. We go to Finn's and she tells me that there was a girl, I'll call her AT because those are her initials. And she's a young girl, probably about like, what does it say? Can I get an ex or fling or previous employee to come on here with me on or off screen? I mean, bro, I could try. The ex-girlfriends are kind of hard because, remember, Most of them were getting to sign NDAs after this. It's wild. He never had me sign one. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. I mean, I feel like I probably would have broke it anyways at this point because, I mean, the truth is the truth, right? And you can't just make up all this stuff. But, so we go in and she proceeds to tell me that, you know, Bruce was on one, really drunk at Harpoons. And again, don't want this to be a reflection of Harpoons or Captains, like any, like, trust me, whenever he would show up at a place, I think that you know, like, the other owners or even, you know, the employees, it was more just kind of like a, here we go, you know, like, it wasn't like he said he didn't work for any of these places. Nobody really took him seriously. And when he did go, especially the bars, obviously, train wreck. And so, so he leaves Harpoons with a group. Well, on that call on October 3rd with one of the other owners of Smugglers, when he calls, Rick puts it on speaker. I'm sitting in the office, and the other owner is telling Rick, like, you need to talk to Bruce. You know, we need to figure out what this is. Rick is on one side of the desk and, you know, on speakerphone, and he's like, Christina will do it. And I was like, no, not my job. Like, I'm like on SLD time right now. I'm not on Bruce time right now. You know, it's kind of like a joke. But we all knew that it was going to be my job. And so I text little Brucey Bruce. In fact, let me look this up on my phone because I could show it to you. I text him and I ask him if he's coming in. Like, are you coming in today or whatever? Because I had to ask, you know, because we were gonna have to confront him about you know, about this whole sexual harassment thing with the girls. And let me find him. So I'm going to try to keep talking while I do this, but I'm only so good at multitasking, you guys. We're way far back. Ooh. You guys just want to just read all the messages between us, or just scroll? So I'll find it in a minute or the next one, whatever, but so he says he's going to come in. He comes in later that day. And literally, Rick and I are sitting at the desk, and he says, yes, it would be excellent. I wish that someone would. Maybe somebody on here can talk to a friend and talk to a friend. I have had employees from those places message me. But again, you know, like, I already know what it's like to have your life, like, just blasted all over the internet without asking for any of it. So my intentions are to not do that to anyone or make anybody look bad, except for the bad people who are Bruce and Brandy and probably Mike and definitely non-detective Christopher Farley and likely Mr. Permel, that I don't know, because how can all this stuff happen and you don't know, please? And I know that if Bruce called him when he got the DUI, I mean, why is non-detective Farley going to Bruce's house? Why can't you be like a normal person over a year later and go and file a police report like regular people? But, you know, that's not going to happen. So, so I do feel like his little friendly friend. I would love to see those call logs, but probably never will get to. So it is. So we're sitting across the desk, and Bruce comes in like a little sad puppy because I feel like he knew he did something bad. And so Rick's on one side of the desk, and I'm on the other facing Bruce. And I said, and Rick's looking at me, and I'm looking at Rick. And oh man, he was fun. I do miss him. And then I have to look at Bruce, and I said, so, you know, so and so called us and told us that, you know, there's some rumors going around that you were maybe, you know, grabbing some private parts on a dance floor of employees and following them all around town and wouldn't leave them alone after being asked multiple times. And you just kept saying to this young girl, who, mind you, is, once I look her up after leaving Finn's and I get her name, oh my gosh, like, I am a grandma, you guys. Like, my oldest daughter is, you know, like, gonna be 23. Like, I'm looking at this girl that I'm looking up on, you know, social media after I get told this information by his niece, and all I can see is, like, you know, my oldest daughter getting followed around by this creepy guy that just, like, won't leave her alone. And no, I had to move girlfriends in and out. I had to deal with getting them off of businesses. I had to deal with, you know, Bruce's fake leases and, you know, maybe some, like, tax fraud and all these things that he did and was responsible for, because he was always the one in charge of his bank and money and all the things, okay? So, So there was that kind of stuff, but I never touched anything that had to do with anything like this. So when I saw this young girl and realized that, you know, this is what he was doing, I was so grossed out. I told my husband I was so grossed out. Like, I was hoping that nothing came of it. Like, I didn't, and mind you, Rick and the other company, they were not trying to like pay anybody off, or like we weren't doing anything like that. We were trying to see what was coming, basically. So again, I'm not saying anything bad, that like there was any like cover up thing, like none of that. Like, my job was to just figure out how far in it we were. Okay. And I'm gonna have to do this puzzle. Hold on. And try to get the first time. Oh, it's the first time I ever did it the first time. Go me. So anyways, I guess it kicks you off. Like, if you're not a real person, you don't solve a puzzle. And I've not been super successful the first try. I digress. So I have to ask him, you know, like, did you do this? Like, she said you were following her around. She said that, you know, you were saying you were going to pay for her kid, like on and on and on. And he's like, and I'm not even kidding you, his answer was this. No. I mean, I don't really remember a lot. I think someone drugged me. Not kidding. That was his actual answer. And Rick and I look at each other, and I had already at this point been texting Nicole, and then the next day she would text me back, like, this is for real, and the next day I would go and have lunch with, you know, all of these things. So I didn't know which girl at the time it was. By the 5th or whatever, once I had lunch with her, and then I realized the girl, and I'm looking the girl up, and I'm showing the girl to Rick and to April, and so like, all this is like provable. Again, everything I've said is super easy to prove, which makes this insane that they could hijack my life for over a year now, on Christopher Farley's notarized signature. Literally, that's all. Nothing has happened in my case. Like, case management. Oh, you're gonna have a court date? No, you're not, because like, they haven't even recused themselves. If they're even gonna, like, I'm telling you, like, I feel like it's going to be something like, I don't want to do this anymore, participate, and so I want it to just go away, and that's why I'm doing all this, because, no, man, give me a jury. Like, let other people, like, this is insane. Yeah, Fins is great. So, yeah, like, no, I want my name back, and, you know, I mean, I would like to have everything it's cost me back, too. And whatever else the good Lord and the like justice system would, you know, I would like to like prevail, basically. This is insane. And also, you know, to just warn everyone else who ever gets pulled over in Charlotte County, especially, you know, innocent people get attorneys, and don't trust the police, because they are going to make up complete fallacies about you in an actual document and get it notarized, and not think that the attorney's office that they said one thing is going to send the audio recording of that call to my attorney to prove you lied otherwise. And that's just one of them. Like, it's so nuts. So anyways, back to the day. We're sitting there. Bruce says he got drugged. You know, like the next day, I'm at lunch with his niece. Find out all the stuff I just showed you. The girl was young. Reminded me of my oldest daughter. She didn't seem to want a problem, wanted to keep her job. I'm sure she did. It was probably, and like I can say from this perspective, the idea of Bruce being asked questions about what Bruce Laishley did or didn't do to her probably terrified her, and she probably thought that she was going to lose her job, because that is literally what he does, right? Like, after he fired me, it was all of these threats, all of this retaliatory behavior. Rick had put me on as a commercial agent, like on some of his like land in the Airport Commerce Center. As soon as he passed away, Bruce took me off of them, which again, he was not the majority owner of SLD who owned those. So could he do it? Could he not do it? But like, you know, at the same time, April has not even yet been named the representative of the estate. And also she's just lost her dad, like her dad, and they were super close. And so, you know, when it's like, oh, are you gonna, you know, try to get your, like, no, like, I'm not trying to put my friend and Rick's daughter, like through any more. Like, when Bruce is calling down, you know, Meekum and trying to get cars appraised and telling them about a trust, it was just, Bruce was only concerned from the jump about getting cash, so that he could try to, my opinion is so that he never has, you know, like a lot of liquid, because he spends his money. I'm not the one spending all his money. He's the one spending all of his money. He's the only one who can move any of his money. And so for him to, you know, to be able to buy any more shares in the LLCs that were going to buy the estate out, he would have to have liquid, and I don't think he had a bunch of that at the time. You know, those breakups be expensive when you're Bruce. And so that had just happened at the end of September, and now he's on the bender in October, and now I'm having to figure all this out. So she was in fear of losing her job, and it seemed like she was, she was a young single mom, from what I could gather from her social media. And I'm sure as soon as it got back to her, it was, you know, what did Bruce say? What did Bruce do? And it was like, I don't want a problem. I just want to keep my job. Which made me want to vomit, to be honest. And I mean, my husband can vouch for that. I'm pretty sure April, you know, could, Rick could, like, it was, all of us were, I remember Rick saying, like, he, you know, if he did this, he should be in trouble for this. The problem was that, you know, like, how much are we drilling down here? Because it wouldn't be Bruce getting sued. It would be, you know, the company getting sued. And, you know, like, it's just, everybody has to eat everything for Bruce all the time. And so, but there was never any cover up. There was just me trying to figure out how far things had went, and she didn't want a problem. And from this side of the jail cell, I can tell you, I mean, she was probably right to do so. Yes, we were sad for that girl. Yeah, super sad. So anyway, so that same niece, just so I can finish the story, so I chased that all down. The girl obviously doesn't want to lose her job, doesn't want a problem, doesn't want anything. So, you know, like, so that kind of goes away. Well, do you know the only people who knew about that the beginning of October was Bruce himself, right? Me, the other owner of Smugglers, April, and Rick. And nobody else, and Nicole, like, nobody else was told any of this stuff. My husband. And so, again, when it goes to, like, excuse me, after Rick passes, like, why all of a sudden are you getting fired? I can show you all the text messages from the day since Rick passed and before between Bruce and I. There was no problem at all until I wouldn't write the check. And then I told April that he was asking for those, for that particular check to be written out of an account I had never written a check out of before, from a checkbook that was somewhere in Rick's office, okay? The checkbooks that were in Rick's office, his daughter wrote checks out of. Sub companies, this, that, whatever. I never did, unless he got one himself from behind his desk and slid it across the thing and told me to fill it out. It's the only time I would have ever filled out a check like that. The only checks that I ever filled out for them was for SLD that I worked for, and for Laishley USA that I was allowed to. And Laishley USA has zero money in it unless Bruce moves the money in. So he knew the whole time, and this was the trade, right? I'm tracing down, moving in and out girlfriends, getting them off of companies, starting other companies with them, doing all of this stuff, and put, you know, all of his kind of, you know, pseudo dirty work. This was the grossest thing, and I was glad that it didn't go any further, and I wouldn't have participated in any sort of cover-up. But again, that wasn't what the companies were wanting to do anyways. We were just trying to figure out what was happening. So before I stay kind of in that, like, this just happened a couple weeks ago, but that same, so not a couple weeks ago, so August 25th of 25, I get this text message from his niece. If you remember, she lived underneath the grandma, and she, you know, took care of everything. And I think there was, like, things promised to her, whether it was the house after the grandma, you know, after Bruce's mom passed, or whatever it was. I just remember telling her on the side one day, just be really careful, because I've seen him do a lot of shady stuff. And, yeah. Yes, I wrote a lot of checks for him. Yes. Out of every account, for sure. They're buddy buds. I have a text message of them, like, planning lunch. Like, I mean, yeah. So I'd mentioned to Nicole, like, just be careful, because I've seen some shady stuff, and I don't want you, you know, like, you have kids, and, like, putting all this on here that, like, I've not seen anything in any papers that I've touched, and I've touched everything, that would lead me to believe that you were getting very much, you know, when Miss Betty passes away. And so on August 25th of 25, she texts me out of nowhere this, hey, this thing again. Hey girl, hey, just wanted to say that I finally moved out and got on with my life. Sorry. I cannot believe your babies are growing up as fast as they are. Still remember our sushi date. And all of our talks. Wish you the best week ever, even if we don't talk anymore. So I just kind of stepped back from everything after this, because one, you don't know who to trust, and two, you know, it's like super awkward. It's like, it's awkward for everyone. Their smear campaign was so good that, like, I've told people, I'm not even, like, thankfully I only had one friend that wasn't even my friend, the first assistant, like switch up, and she switched up all over the place anyways. So that was not like a surprise. But every other person in my camp has been so solid through and through. And even, you know, owners of like the other, it was just awkward because they did a really good job of making it look like something was true that wasn't, with absolutely zero evidence. And up until this happened to me, I would have believed also that you can't just be arrested, right? Like, because a guy says basically to his friend that he wants you arrested and give somebody, you know, like a spreadsheet. So thank you, because so I would have never thought that either. So like seeing my face all over Fox News and all these things and every, you know, just all of that, you know, the Northport Dirty Laundry, what was she called herself? Self-proclaimed homewrecker, had so much to say. You know, somebody sent me all those screenshots. I wanted them because, you know, like, defamation is a real thing. And if you write all these things about somebody, there's like two kinds of defamation, the talking kind, and then, you know, the writing kind. And I hope user 8, whatever the heck is, my ex-husband is on here, because, you know, we should, for it to be defamation, it has to not be true. So all the stuff that the homewrecker wrote all over this, like, Northport Dirty Laundry about me, like she knew me, was not true. Hence the defamation part. If I say things on here and they're true, even if you don't want me saying it about you, you probably shouldn't have done it then, right? User 8, whatever the heck your number is. But I can say it if it's true. Just so we're clear. A little sidebar. But so she ends up, so the reason intersection, even though we don't talk anymore, wasn't for a lack of not caring or whatever. It was just awkward. And I kind of just removed myself from everything and just, you know, trying to figure out what the heck, you know, was going on, how this was possible, on and on. So then I wrote her back and I said, I will talk to you forever, girl. Just wanted to respect whatever weird boundaries may have been created. I get the family stuff. I also struggle with how the truth is about to affect your grandma. I truly loved her. So I'm talking about Miss Betty Laishley, who I did love and took care of. And she was even super kind to me. As soon as Bruce terminated me, I, you know, messaged her and I said, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, and she's like, oh, there's just so many feelings. It will all be fine, you know, whatever. And so, and then later that would change also, which was sad. But, so I said, I really struggle with how the truth is about to affect your grandma. I truly loved her. The truth being this, like, I'm not just going to roll over and say that this is truth. Like, I'm going to show all this stuff. Like, I have all the proof in the world that this is not true. All of it. I truly trusted him, but things are about to get public and spicy. And I'm sorry in advance for any hellfire it brings. Nothing but good vibes ever from you or to you, though. I pray good things over you. Sorry. And I said, nothing but good vibes. Man, this thing is so weird and I can't figure it all the way out. Nothing but good vibes for you. You're a sweet soul. I'm around whenever. Don't be a stranger. She says, girl, we need to have lunch. I saw everything that you told me about. Should I repeat it? I saw everything that you told me about. I knew you were a good egg. And I said, I appreciate that more than you know, especially after their, it should say smear campaign. After their smear campaign, it's been wild. I still work with April, so I could do Jay's barbecue any day, let me know. And Jay's barbecue is in Moscow City, and they are also good. Oh wait, he bought her teeth too. Whose teeth? He did this so they wouldn't tell Barb. Sheriff Permel isn't in Hillsborough. No, he's in Charlotte County. No, he's not. Bruce was arrested in... Yeah, so Bruce was arrested in Hillsborough. That's that DUI picture. His most recent one, he's wearing a blue shirt. Oh. And I got that thing expunged. And then, you know, all these private investigators are calling. And I think they're calling about my stuff, but they're not. They're actually calling about his stuff with that DUI. Like, and I've heard he's out on town drinking even since then. Like, dude, no rules apply. He's the guy who would be drunk and, you know, get pulled over by Charlotte County, but sent home. So, you know. Please don't dry tag. I don't know. That's not my thing. So, okay. So that's that. Why would Bruce, another question I get sometimes is, why would why would he like make all this stuff up about me later? Well, like I said before, his daughter never was involved in anything, and he, you know, I feel like it was like not intentional, but you know, just that trying to save face and not knowing it would go this far. But after he went this far, you know, not really knowing how to turn it back, and also at the same time thinking that he's bigger than everything, like self-proclaimed most powerful man in the world. Are you saying that Bruce and Brandy did this so that Barb wouldn't find out? No. So Barb is like off, you know, like when she and Bruce, I came on and she and Bruce were getting a divorce. I literally was drafting all their divorce papers with the attorney because this is what Bruce does, right? He would have me do everything so he didn't have to pay for his attorney to do it, right? So I'm drafting operating agreements based on these, you know, drafts that she's giving me, and then she's just getting them back. His attorney at the time, Phyllis Walker, from McCroy, she's since moved out of the country, and Lord, I would too. That's what I would do after this. And so, so she would finalize the documents after I did them. So, like, it's really the same thing. Why would he pay you this way? Well, if he pays me a paycheck, like SLD, then he has to pay employment tax. He has to, you know, there's all these other things, workers' comp, like all this stuff. If he doesn't, then it's just all in-kind payment, and guess who gets to write it all off on their taxes? Bruce does. So, like, you guys, it was way bigger. Like, it's like he's been doing this a long time, and I gotta be careful what I say because, you know, I don't want to just throw. I don't want anybody. That wasn't Christopher. Oh, I know because I worked there with them. Who was the CPA? Ooh, okay. So, I'm gonna mess my little book up over here, but so the CPA and the PCA is like something Lane. I know that he was on for another. I don't know if he was with Smugglers for longer or wherever, but it was never. He wasn't with. I'm gonna find the paper. I'm gonna show you. So it's another thing. Like Bruce can't say that he. So anyways, the CPA and the PCA never met me, never worked with me. I have no idea even why non-detective Christopher Farley would even ask him a question, because he would have had no first-hand knowledge of anything, which is basically what he says in there. But there's so many pages, you guys. Well, I want to show you the email. Oh, I'm going to have to show you those ones next too. There's so much stuff. We need like a really long live or something. That was not the CPA. Un momento. So, found it. One of them. So, the CPA that we had used for everything was Brian Crosland's office, okay? And I'm going to try to get this up there. Won't let me go very far. Screenshot this so you can see. So you can see, up here, it has Sean, who was the CPA who worked with us. Brian Crosland, who owned the business. And I guess he retired or something, I guess, is why they started going Daniel Lane. But he was never there whenever I was there. It was always Crosland when I was there for everything that I worked on. And so, you know, we would text. We would like, I mean, it was with two of the bankers from OZK and with the CPA, always in my phone. He needs to move money, or he needs to pay his tax, or he needs whatever. So this is Bruce saying that he did not know anything, right? Right here in this paper with the CPA, with both of Bruce's emails included. He was always included on everything that had to do with money, especially. She right here says, please confirm that the above expenses were included in the $303,000 of unallocated expenses. If this is correct, there remains to be blah, blah, blah. The CPA, guys, when you, like, so there's a Laishley USA bank account and an SLD bank account, and those, and I think like a KO Costa bank account. Those were the only accounts that I was ever like charged with basically like reconciling or, filing taxes for, any of that. So the CPA would get what's called, if you're not familiar with QuickBooks, an accountant's copy of the QuickBooks. So the way that Laishley USA worked was like, the QuickBooks was basically just like a check register. Like I said, no money ever went into Laishley USA checking account unless Bruce moved it in there himself. So he always knew how much money was going in. He always knew it was going out all the time. And so not just that, but all these checks, all these expenses. So Sean is getting, our CPA is not only getting an accountant's copy of the actual QuickBooks, but she's also getting predominantly from the two bankers. But I can say sometimes it would be to me through a secured file. Sometimes it would go straight to the CPA. But literally getting bank statements right from Bank OZK every single year that Bruce is copied on, you guys. There, he was like, I feel like like Christopher non-detective Farley went there acting like he's some like Hugh Hefner, ew. And you know, he just like, and I don't even know that would be applicable to him because I've read a lot of stuff that he was like very in control of all of his stuff. But what was the other girl's name? Anna Nicole Smith. That's the one. I feel like Bruce has tried to make it seem like he's this like criminal guy, you know, you're still out there getting DUIs, buddy bud. Like, I mean, come on. He is not like a crippled old guy who like doesn't know. He's chasing down young girls as old as my daughter who I'm having to put out potential sexual harassment things for, saying he's going to pay her for everything and do whatever. Like, this is not the Anna Nicole Smith, like, let's take advantage of this, you know, 2,000-year-old guy and get his money right before his, you know, on a life bed. This, like, that, like, everything was painted on the internet like that. Such complete, you know what. And just like this, like, I mean, I can prove it over and over and over again. It's wild to me that, so even here, this is him, and he didn't know anything about anything, okay? Let me see if you guys have asked me anything else, because I'm going slow. Did I miss anything? Okay, I told you this. Okay, so this is a text message between Bruce and I, one of the bazillions. So this is Bruce's side, okay? So that is an automatic bill that's coming out of his account. And he's telling me, I just found this. I sold this lot about 7 months ago. It has a boat lift on it. I say, okay. He says, Brandy said her power just got turned off. Any ideas? Yeah, because, again, guys, she's a real rocket scientist. I don't know, Brandy, what you call FPL or something? Like, look it up on an app. But apparently I had to do that for her. So these are the things, right? So let me figure out why Brandilyn, who's the one that they're trusting with the spreadsheet about what I did, Brandy doesn't know if her power got shut off. Okay. So anyways, I looked, and I probably can't really see, but that was her Sarasota address, and I said, well, it looks like the power's going to be off for a minute, Brandy. Just teach her how to do it next time. Moral of that story is, Bruce is the one who's telling me what he paid, that he's still paying for it, and for what it was, right? Like, he always knew. It got sent to him. Here's another example. Over there? Okay. I get a lot of auto pay bills. Now, if we all remember, right, if you took the time to read through that boring PCA, oh, she wrote checks, but she got a lot of stuff taken out of auto that he didn't know about. So weird, because right there, he's telling me about the auto pay bills that he gets, okay? One for the Burnt Store Road units, one for the Flow Train unit, one for 5503 Sea Edge, which was next door to his mom's house. I think I may still be paying for Brandy's. I want to make sure I'm not paying for the lot in Pirate Harbor, Old Yacht Club Helm, and others. Also, I'm working on some of Sean's items. So Sean was the one who worked for Brian Croslin, the CPA, because I would give him a list of things that he needed to get, because he's the one who had to get them. Like, this whole mastermind that I was painted to be on the internet? No. Actually, no. And so there's that one. There's so many. Here's another one. He says, he sends me a screenshot. It's like such a delicate dance we're doing right here. Okay. Maybe. Okay. So he sends me a screenshot. Can one of you email Christina wiring instructions? What? For Brandilyn and mine's joint account. So he and Brandy had a joint account. Okay. And then Pam from OZK says, will do. He sends me a screenshot of it and tells me to call Pam, the banker, because I can't move money. Okay. I said, she said 5 minutes. He says, okay, good. Pam just sent it to you. Are you going to go overnight Brandy's stuff now? Can you make her a copy? See, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing every single thing for his family. Which is even why Brandy, like, acting like, oh, I mean, you don't know how to check your FPL, so I'm not saying you're smart, but I'm saying you're also not this, you know, not smart. Here he is again on a different day. Just got this. True Blue Pools is still billing my credit card for maintaining the pool at whatever yacht club. See below. Can you call them Monday and ask them to stop? If they aren't cleaning it, please ask them to credit my card back. Thanks. And then right under that, okay, it says large purchase on American Express account ending, whatever, in the amount of $145. Guys, he's getting text alerts on his phone for $145 for any amount that's spent on any of these cards. So on the other side of this, I say, I had an authorized credit card from 2019 when I started working for him. I had 2 of them by the end of it and 2 houses. It's not quite the girlfriend package, and I had to do a lot more work, and I stayed a lot longer than any of them, just so you know. Even $200,000 spread out over, you know, 5+ years, and having to do all of this, like, I am not like, I mean, why would I do all this for free? I wouldn't. So I got a paycheck that I think I could show you my W-2 from that year that we got the house. I'm pretty sure it was like $55,000. I would have never been able to get a mortgage for that house, so that's not even true. Yeah, here we go. $55,400 was that year with the house. So that's where you bring up, like, I probably shouldn't give all of you guys my social security number either. I mean, I trust you kind of, but you know what I'm saying. Right? Okay. So, I mean, I'm not going to be able to get a mortgage for that house with that amount of money. Which brings us back to the whole predatory lending thing, right? So he had a lot over my head, and you kind of don't really know until you're like in it. It was just, he helped me a lot. I was loyal to him. I didn't know he, you know, and he did progressively get worse, by the way. I don't feel like he was like this when I first started. But also, he was just getting divorced from Barb because he had to hurry up and marry Yvonne. Well, that did not last long at all. And that was the first time I kind of saw him spiral. As long as Bruce was with a girl, which he generally was, then, you know, then they kind of became the wrangler or the money spender or whatever for a certain amount of time. And I was just here in the background, and he was paying for all my things because I was maintaining the status quo. That his girlfriends didn't want to know about and his daughter couldn't know about, and I was putting out all this stuff. That way his life was not, you know, ruffled by his own feathers. Was basically it. So anyways, back to the True Blue Pools, I respond and say, that's odd. They definitely were supposed to have stopped service. I gave the new owners their info to continue service. If they wanted, I'll call them Monday. Thanks. I should get back several months refund. Is this somebody who, like, does not know how much money is getting put out and where? I mean, he even knew the True Blue Pools from a different house owed him however much money in a refund. This guy knows where all of his money is all the time. Here's another one. Large purchase on American Express ending in this $81, guys. $81. And it says for Hulu. My response was what, guys? This, I'm a super thief. I'm like, that's a lot for Hulu. Because I'm funny like that. But his response is, please cancel this account. It was for 2 houses back. I feel like it's still a lot of money for Hulu. But he didn't care about that. Oh, yeah. My mentally spicy? Yeah. The Jess Nick method hooks me up all the time. Here's one where he says, don't we have a meeting? Ooh. Don't we have a Harbor Social meeting at the 4 Points today? I think I need to transfer money into Harbor Social today so I can close on Tom Flood's property. Can you find out the amount and when it needs to go? I had a 1 o'clock meeting scheduled for today. So who's moving money, guys? Let's all say it together. Bruce is. Oh, is it the live package for Hulu? See, who even knew? Well, good for him. So here's one, and this is Bruce and the banker Pam and I, and he sends. I sent in case they need that info for a check, and how much money should be made payable in what form, whatever. So I send this on a group text with one of the bankers and Bruce and myself. And then the banker says, hello, of course, I'll let my ladies know. I say, thank you. Bruce says, thank you, Pam. She says, my pleasure. Debit from 9159, correct? Question mark. He says, no, my money market. I think it's 4590. It has like $410,000 in it. Thank you. Got it. Thank you. So who's moving money? Bruce is. And who knows exactly how much money is in an account without looking? Bruce does. And that's not even his regular account. That was the 9159 account. The Laishley USA account, I think, was 3352. So this money market, 4590, that he just came up with off the top of his head and the amount in it, that's all him. I never had online access to this stuff, guys. That one I kind of showed you. Are we getting bored yet, or... Cashier's check. That was kind of boring. Oh, somebody wanted to know about the, okay. I know. I'll show you some where I'm not just his assistant. Like, he wanted it to, like, there's a very just, it was platonic. Don't even do me dirty like that. But this is him. Every time, you guys, every time, I don't know what it is. Talking about one of his girlfriends. I'm so excited for all of the things and appreciate very much you including me. That's me. Thank you, Christina. You are definitely a blessing to me and my family. You are family. Okay. Let's see some more. There's so many. It's hard to just like, vehicle tags. That one's kind of boring. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure I'm also not missing any questions. This was a little bit like the working environment. So when we were working on his daughter's house in Sarasota, he had a little handyman, and this is a text message with the handyman and Bruce and myself, and we're talking about the tile guy. And the handyman, like Bruce, Tom, handyman guy, and me. And included in this is, I just hate Bruce feeling so stressed and pressured because I'm getting the pressure, which is okay. I can handle the pressure. Actually, let me back up because this guy was a little, but it's a little bit entertaining. So this is kind of like what the working environment, if you want to call it that, was like. So again, Bruce is on this text message, the same as I am. Can read or fix anything if it's out of the ordinary, but it's not. This is normal operations, okay? So in this text message, his handyman says, I actually like the guy. Whenever he gave me a chance to get a word in edgewise, he finally listened to me a little bit, and I like him. I mean, he does decent work. He's talking about a tile guy at Brandilyn's house. A little bit, and I like him. I mean, he does decent work, and he's clean and takes good care of whatever tools he borrows or uses. I just think he just got himself a little too deep in work trying to please too many people at once. I wish you would have just said no, but yeah, I'm getting along with him. I just hate Bruce feeling so stressed and pressured because I'm getting the pressure, which is okay. I can handle the pressure, but good luck. Did you show him your boobs? That might help, LOL. No, sir, I did not, because I'm not the first assistant, but whatever. But, you know, like, this is like Bruce, I said, no, then he says, I wish he would have just said no, because we would have gotten Bruce's other guys in there. Bruce seems to handle the inspector pretty good today, though. Whatever. Like, but this is like it, like, just another day, right? Just like, whatever it takes. This was our, you know, this was our just super, just business, man. I was his employee. We like vacation together. Could do this all day. Are we like getting the hint now? The scary thing is that, oh, here's like, I won't put her face in it, but that's one of my kids and Bruce and I. Ah. Oh boy. Yeah. On a little jet plane. And I was thinking after this, I completely forgot that 1 year for the Care Ball, I guess it was probably 2019, yeah, it had to be 2019. My son's bandit team made regionals or whatever, and it was like in Miami. And then the care ball was like the same day or something, or later that day. And it was, look at it. This is so weird to me. Okay. Jess, I'm really messing your head up over here with this backwards stuff. So the care ball was like the same day or something that night, and so we were in Miami, and so we rented a car, and Nick Nevick and I, both of our sons were on the same team, and we were both, participating in this care ball thing, and so Bruce sent a jet to Miami, and we both took the jet back just to so this is the kind of, just like strictly, I was not allowed to do anything or spend anything, and I never had the right, like, come on, man. It was all the time. I also have text messages where he's asking me to wear white all the time. If you're an ex-girlfriend, you know that's true. Don't say it's not true. He likes girls in white. Okay. That was his mom and I. I would bring her stuff on her birthday, all the things. Christmas, I would decorate her house for Christmas. Yeah, just the whole PCA is like complete garbage. I don't want to share too much. So a lot of our text messages the day leading up, or the days after Rick passed away, I'm not going to share any of those because they are, about Rick's family, just the what was going on in those days. So I'd rather not share those things until I can run it by the family and have her, say yes or no to that. And where are we at now? 10. Woo! We did it again. Look at us go. If there's any like last minute questions, let me know. If not, then I'll go live 2 more times this week. But Tuesday tea is going to be the thing. So this is gonna probably be the longest one every week, and I guess I'm just gonna do this for the rest of my life. But if you didn't watch the little video that I posted before, then watch it. You are too pretty to be worried about this waste of space. Oh, that's so sweet, Allie. Yeah, I just that pretty though, right? Oh, they did me so wrong. It's fine. It's fine. It'll buff. But thank you. Yeah. I really just want people to not think I'm a thief. That's really all this is about. Oh. Thank you. And you know what? You guys can kind of help me, especially if you're local, because you can like tell your friends. Find some Harpoon Harry's employees. Anybody who wants to like come in my little live box, you could do that. But yeah, it's super scary. It should scare everybody that these two guys, this one, that one, is actually scarier to me than that one. Because, I mean, that one can only do so much. This one, the stories I have heard about this one since, whoa. And the stuff that this can be happening in our town, super whoa. And yeah, if you get pulled over in Charlotte County, I would just say, or arrested or anything, get an attorney and record. Because the fact that all this can happen with nothing, and I have so much proof, it should terrify every person living in like the 33948, 33950, like whatever these like zip codes are. I've lived here since middle school, like, and I never in a million years would have thought that this would be possible. So, anyways, all right then. Well, I will be back on sometime later this week, but I'll definitely be here next Tuesday. So set your little calendars, ask me questions, share with your friends. So I don't know. I would like to embarrass Bruce and Mr. Permel and non-detective Christopher Farley as much as they have me. Really. But, okay then. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Shine his face of favor on you, all those things. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.